Hey folks, DC here at DC's Gadgets. Several different items today to talk about. I was going to do a video on my bottom boards, but I think that's going to get preempted because a bunch of other crap has happened. It is the 30th of September 2019, and these bees are driving me nuts. So I get home today and I do grafts in my yard on Sundays. I have a cell builder in the backyard. And last week I did 8. And of the 8, they only finished 2, which made me suspicious something might be going on in there. But I had a lot going on yesterday, so I really didn't go dig through the box. I just threw a frame of grass in there and figured I'd see what happens today. So I went in today, and sure enough, they cleaned all the cells out. So I figure I've got a rogue virgin queen running around in there, something I missed, and I've been really careful this time. I couldn't see how I could have missed one. Now, last year I had some cages fall off and queens got out. And a couple of times I moved brood frames over and I made queens. But I've been really trying really hard not to do that. So I start looking through, and sure enough, I pull out one frame and it's packed with eggs on both sides of one frame. And a couple of them have hatched out. So she's been in there now for 4 days laying. It's like, wow. I got a mated queen, not a virgin queen. Changes things. So I put that frame down, pull the next frame out, I see a few eggs, and then I spot this queen running around, and she had this big white dot in her back. I'm like, wait, that's my queen from a different hive. How did she get over here? So I snag her, stick her in a cage, put her in my pocket, I go through the rest of the box. That's all I can find is just on those 2 frames, there's eggs and some larvae that just hatched out. So I go in the box. Immediately next to this one, it's only like 1.5 feet, not even probably a foot away. I pull that open, and there is no young larvae or no young brood in that box. There's about, I think it was 7 queen cells that weren't capped yet, and older brood, no young brood. So apparently, sometime 4 or 5 days ago, for whatever reason, she decided to leave that middle box I've got in the backyard and moved into my mating or my cell builder nuke instead of housekeeping over there, and then the bees in the middle box that are making queen cells. So I thought about letting the cells finish and then cutting them out. It's like, you know what, I just ain't got time for this. So I cut all the queen cells off. I stuck her in a candy cage, put her back in the box where she belongs, moved all the brood frames over to the middle box, took the bees off, and then I put just food frames back in the cell builder. And when I get home, I'm out doing stuff. And when I get home, I'll put in this grass in today. So I mean, strange stuff. And I put it on the on that box. I stuck a queen excluder so she can't get back out again. What I'll probably do next week when I get a mated queen in one of my mating nukes, I'll probably swap her out and put her someplace else. Maybe give her to somebody who only has one beehive and I get worried about it moving around. So it brings into question, do queens leave the beehive after they're mated? Obviously she did. So I wonder, did she leave the mate to go out and relieve herself, and when she came back she got drifted off a foot or so and got into the box, or did she just decide she didn't like living there anymore and want to move next door? It boggles the mind. Okay, second item. We went out Saturday. I went out with a club member, Susan, and her husband, and we took some bees out of a hollow log. Kind of a strange group of bees. They started out kind of feisty, and then they really mellowed out toward the end. We actually saw the queen and put them in a box. We saw a lot of hive beetles in the original colony, so I only pulled some of the comb and put in frames because I was afraid that we'd get too many hive beetles. So just put like four frames of comb we stuck in a box with a bunch of bees and put them in the yard. That was Saturday. Sunday things looked pretty good. And then Susan called me yesterday. She said that the bees had swarmed and they're up in a tree. And so I kind of resigned to the fact that they weren't going to go back in that box, and certain suspicions. So I just figured let them go. And sure enough, I came over tonight. I had to put a virgin queen in my mating nuke, and I popped the lid on that box, and it was empty of bees. But the frames are covered in small hive beetle larvae, and I'll tag that video onto this one. So this year has been really bad. I've not done that many removals compared to last year, but last year I did not have anywhere near the number of small hive beetles I'm getting this year. This year it's just like every removal is just filled with small hive beetles, and the larvae just take over. And so I'm hitting the point now where I'm thinking, if I do any more removals this year, unless they've just drawn some brand new comb, I think I'm going to toss the comb. I might stick them in a box with a queen excluder on the front so she can't get out, and just feed them and feed them and feed them and make them draw a comb, because the small hive beetles are just, they're a terror this year. Which comes up the point with the bottom boards. Now, when I first started doing this beekeeping thing, screen bottom board was it. You know, Stuart had them. He showed me he was making screen bottom boards. I got online, did research. Everybody's doing screen bottom boards, and the theory is a couple different theories. The bugs fall through. Yeah, I'll grant you that. The bugs will fall through, but they can also climb back up from the bottom. And I think that, you know, with us using screen bottoms and leaving them open all the time, the small hive beetles are just coming back up from through the screen from the bottom. I think we've taken the wrong idea on screen bottoms. Most people, when you ask them why they use screen bottoms, they talk about keeping the hive ventilated and cool, and they talk about, you know, if the bees clean off the varroa mite or they chase out the small hive beetles, they'll fall through the screen. Okay, I grant that if it happens on the bottom board, right next to the screen, but I just can't imagine varroa mites doing plinko from the middle box all the way down to the screen. That's just not going to happen. So I think when the original intent to the screen bottom board was you could put a sticky board underneath it, or an inspection board or something underneath the screen to actually see what's coming out. Because last year we found in several boxes, and several club members have noticed this, that when you had the open screen bottom boards, if there wasn't a good flow going on, a lot of activity, the bees would leave the bottom and move everything up into the middle box, because it's like they didn't like it. Either there was too much air coming in or too much light coming in, or something about that screen they didn't like. And so earlier this year I tried making solid bottoms. I just took some political science and stuck them under my boxes just to close it up, and found that my population increased and the bees actually occupied all the boxes. So the new bottom board I've got has a slide-in pane, and I'm leaving the pane in all the time. So there's not as much airflow. There will be some because it's not totally sealed up. Definitely not as much light coming through. And we'll just see what goes on. I know that I stuck them in yesterday. I stuck several in at the club yard yesterday, and in less than an hour I pulled one to check it, and there was like 6 or 7 dead beetles in the diatomaceous earth. And I was just in the yard again this evening to just do various things. So I grabbed a couple of trays and pulled the trays back, and I counted 27 dead beetles in one tray and about 14 in another. So obviously they're doing something. I don't know if the bees were chasing beetles out of the bottom boards before, but they're doing something. So obviously this is pretty good. We'll monitor it each week, see what's going on with the things. I'll tag all those videos together. If I get time, when I get home, I'll see if I can do something with the bottom board too. But that's all for now. It's September, and I'm out in the yard. Just had to put a new queen in the box. I think I made a queen out yesterday, but look at what we've got here. This was the colony that came out of the tree. And when you do these cutouts or these removals, you want to try to save some comb because it's brood, and it gives the bees an anchor to go. But more and more, I'm at the point where I want to just toss it all away and make them start over, because this is every comb was like this. This is small hive beetles. They're everywhere. So I'm going to take all these frames. We only kept 3 frames for this main reason, because I was afraid that there'd be a bunch of small hive beetles in here. Actually 4 frames, I guess. We kept 4 frames. I kept old brood and young brood, and there were a lot of bees. So I was hoping that the population of bees would control this, but obviously I was wrong, because this is just really way out. So the bees have left. In fact, Susan called me yesterday, said that they swarmed up, and I kind of suspected this. And And I've had too many of these happen. I'm at a point now where if they're gonna leave, they're gonna leave. So rethinking some things. These frames are gonna go home. I'm gonna throw them in a pot of boiling water, just melt the wax down, and kill everything off. And I'm at a point now where I think when I do removals, I'm just gonna toss all the comb, unless it's brand new comb. Just gonna toss all the comb and just let them start over again, because this is gonna spread to the yard, and I don't want it spreading to the yard. Alright, so I'll just tag this on to the end of the other one where we've lost the colony from those beetles. I have activity in the swarm box. There's a steady stream of bees going in and out. I don't think anything's established in there yet, but like I said, there's a steady stream of bees going in and out. So we're checking it out. We'll keep an eye on it. Maybe we'll pick up a swarm this week.